What is the first thing that anyone sees about your work and what makes them want to buy from you? That's what I'm talking all about in this video. And if you haven't guessed yet, it is your photography, and in particular your product photography. And taking those beautiful images of your designs and your finished work that are going to attract your audience and potential customers. Whether you're using a simple smartphone or you've got a pro level camera you can use. This is our final video in our design challenge series, and it's all about getting those images that are going to sell. So I'm talking all about photography and photographing your designs and those pieces that you've been making. Now, I'm just going to be touching on photography today. It's such a huge topic, and I go into it in much more detail inside of the Handmade Business Academy if you decide to join there. However, in this video, I am going to be highlighting some of the important parts of your photography and your imagery, and which images you really need to capture to help sell your work. An image speaks 1,000 words. We have all heard this thousands of times. This has never been truer than with your product photography. You've spent time designing and bringing to life a particular story, a particular design, and you've made that piece, and now it's ready to be shown to the world, to be put out into the market to sell, and for people to be able to engage with your work. So your images need to do several things. They need to tell the story and the personality behind your work and of your brand. It needs to also reflect the quality of your work and that of the particular piece that you're wanting to sell. You can use imagery to showcase the beauty and the care that you're taking, and that goes into the work that you do. And so in the previous videos in this series where I've talked about production, I've also been mentioning about recording your work and recording the steps that you take through your imagery, through your photographs and video, because this really helps to bring to life the work that you do, and it really shows your audience the care that you're putting into your work and your processes as an artist, as a maker. And it's these behind the scenes shots that are important to building your audience, so they can build an understanding of your designs and the work that you're putting out there. And your images can attract your perfect audience as well. Those customers that are going to fall in love with your work and want to buy from you and then want to buy from you again. Your photography also needs to, in some ways, reflect your price point of your work as well. So it really does. Your product photography really needs to be multi-layered. And I'm going to touch on some of the essential images that you're going to want to be taking in this video. So you have your final piece that you want to photograph and put out there into the world. So what are the key images you need to be capturing? So the first image is to capture a lifestyle image. So the product in situ. Is it something that's going to be worn? Can you show it on somebody being worn? How is it going to be used? Is it an object that you would have in your home or on display or in an outside space? Where does your product sit? Where does the design fit in the lives of your audience and the lives of the people that are going to be buying it? And then recreate that environment in a simple, not cluttered and crazy, but in a really simple and beautiful way that tells your audience how they're going to use that design and your design, and so they can envisage it in their lives. So really think about taking images of your product in situ. Now I'm a jeweler, so obviously my work is to be worn. Sometimes I will take images actually on a hand if it's rings. Sometimes I will just place a ring on my hand or on my finger, so I can take it really simply myself without needing extra models. Occasionally I will use models as well, but quite often I will just have my piece in one of the jewellery boxes to create that environment around the type of piece that it is. So if it's an engagement ring, in an engagement box, so somebody can envisage giving it to somebody. So it's those images that are going to speak to your audience about how your work, how your designs are going to be in their lives. How is it going to fit into their lives? You also want to be capturing images that you can use again and again, whether it's on your website, if you have your own website, or if you're part of an online marketplace like Etsy or Folksy. The second set of images to have are those product images that you can use on your own website if you have a website. I always recommend having your own website in some shape or form, even if you're still selling somewhere like Etsy. And I'll go into more details about why and how. in another video. But suffice to say, I believe it's really, really important, and it's a must to have your own website. And it's so easy to set up these days. It's not complicated or hugely costly. There really is no excuse not to have your own website if you're wanting to grow your business. So you want to capture the images that are going to be on the main part of your product listing. So images that you can use on your site or a marketplace listing like Etsy. And it's really important that the images that you take of your products for this particular use are consistent across all of your work, across all your products. So that when you're displaying your work on your website and each product is next to each other or underneath each other, there's consistency across the collection of work, and they all feel at ease with each other, and they're not competing with different styling or different lighting. They look cohesive together. So my recommendation to taking these storefront and these website images is to use a neutral background and natural lighting, and not to overstyle an image. You're not creating that lifestyle image with these ones or that hero image. You can still use those on your website and for marketing, but for those images that are going to be the main product listing image on your storefront, keep these fairly simple so that your design and your product is the star of the show. And the thing that's really standing out in the images is your piece of work. And take multiple images of these, take them from different angles, take detail shots, take close-ups. And if there's a particular detail that's really key to your designs, like your signature style or a little mark that is unique to you, make sure you take images of that as well. It may be that your design is, as soon as you post it somewhere, it gets snapped up straight away and you don't have the opportunity to take photos again. So make sure you capture as many as possible once you still have it with you, once you have your designs with you. Photograph your work in as much detail as you can as soon as you've made it. You don't have to do it on the same day, but set aside a day to photograph your product. So don't hold back about the images you take. It's predominantly all digital these days, so you can take multiple images at different angles and different wide shot and close-ups. So you have a collection of images that you can work with and you can use again and again and again. So these images, as well as being on your website, you might use them in social media along with those lifestyle shots as well. So create that catalogue of images that accompany your work, accompany your particular design. And if you can, set aside, as I said, set aside a day when you can photograph multiple different pieces all at the same time, because this will help with that consistency that we want in these particular product images. And don't forget also to photograph your setup. It's so difficult to go back to something if you can't remember how you set up to take those photographs. So photograph the setup that you've put together to capture these pictures. So when you come back to it another day, you don't need to worry about whether you're positioning something in exactly the same place or not, because you've got a reference. The third type of image that's going to be really useful for you going forward is to have images which are like a white cutout image. So you have a pure white background. Nowadays, it's really, really easy to achieve this. When I first started in my jewellery business, I would take so many hours photoshopping the images to get the white background. But nowadays, you can do it really, really easily in Canva and Photoshop. And it's super straightforward to create that white background. It's a simple click of a button and it takes seconds. So make use of the technology that's there. Canva is what I use, and as I said, it literally takes seconds to do. Use your product images that you've already have and then select remove background. Simple, super simple. Now these white cutout images of your work are ones that you're going to be sending off to media or press if they want to feature your work. So if you've pitched to them and they've said yes, then these are the type of images that the majority of media are going to want, whether that's printed magazines and press, whether it's blog posts, online magazines, especially when you're getting more into the marketing side of your products and your work. It's so handy and useful to have these types of images as well, so that if you're pitching press and media, you can easily send them images if they want them. The fourth set of images that I want you to capture along your way, and I've said this previously, are all the behind the scenes shots. So the tours of your trade, your workspace imagery, so my workspace is here, so that your audience can really start connecting with your work and who you are as a maker. So the more you can tell your story through imagery, the more connection your audience is going to feel for you. Along this theme is the fifth type of image that you need to have, and that's your maker shots. If there's somebody who is able to take these shots for you, then fantastic. But don't worry if there isn't. If you're working by yourself and you don't have somebody that can help you out with this, just set your camera or your phone up on a tripod with a timer or a remote control, and then have a go at taking some of these shots yourself as well. So these ideally would be images of you facing the camera in your environment, in your workspace, in your studio, wherever it may be, or out in the place where you find inspiration. And these again can be used for media opportunities if you're having a piece written about you and the work that you do, but also in your own marketing, whether that's on your own website or in social media. If you don't feel comfortable facing the camera, or if you're taking your own photos with a timer or a remote, and it could be a bit tricky to take these and face the camera and feel comfortable all at the same time, then a photo of you at work is great too, even if it's just from the side of your head or over your shoulder of your hands at work. It's all about connection and building relationships with the audience. So if you can show a bit of your hands working or a bit of the side of your face, that would be great. So those are the main types of images that you're going to be using. And all of these together help to build the story of your work and of your designs, and the story of you as the maker and of your brand. And they're so valuable for your marketing efforts going forward as well. So if you've been following along with the design challenge, then this week's focus is all about the photography, all about capturing the images that you're going to be using to market your work. If you want, you can hire a product photographer or a brand photographer to shoot these for you. But it's also really important to be able to capture some of these shots yourself. Even if you do hire a brand photographer at some point to help you, being able to take your own product shots will really help, especially when you're starting out, because it can be a big investment to get a professional photographer to shoot these images. And if you only have a small number of pieces, it's maybe not always the best use of your finances. It's maybe not always making the most of your investment. So when you're starting out, being able to shoot your own images is really, really important. I still shoot my own images. I do have the advantage of the fact my husband is a photographer, is a wedding photographer. So we have a lot of kit around, and I also work with him and assist him on various assignments as well from time to time. So we are surrounded by images all the time. But other than my maker shots and maybe some of the model shots, I still take all my own product images. I'll share in a future video my favorite tools and kit and simple hacks for taking these product images. So if you haven't already, please do subscribe to this channel so you get to see that when it comes out. If you have a DSLR camera, fantastic, start practicing with that. If you have your phone as dual camera, practice more with that. Whether it's if you do have a smartphone, whether it's an iPhone or a Google phone or whatever phone it is, there are plenty of photography apps out there which are really good nowadays, and you can take fantastic photos just using your phone, especially if it's going to be for social media. And if you do join the Handmade Business Academy, then I go through all the workflow for taking product images and editing them in a lot more detail. But in this video, I just want to encourage you to take time to have the confidence to take your own images. The more you practice taking images, the better you will become. It takes time to know what setup suits your designs best. It takes time to work out what lighting suits your work best. If you have something that's reflective, do you want to play with those reflections? Do you want to embrace them? Or do you want to play with shadows and have that as part of your imagery? Or are you trying to eliminate them? And so it takes time and practice. And the more you can spend time photographing your work, the better understanding you will have about what it is that you like, what you're trying to create, and what you're aiming for. And by spending time playing around with your photography and experimenting, whether or not in the future you hire a professional product photography or brand photographer, then knowing what it is you want and knowing how you want your images to represent your brand will help immensely when it comes to outsourcing this part of your workflow. So that is it for this video. Don't be afraid to experiment and to try things out, and don't worry about getting rubbish photos. Just have a go, try taking the photos, mix it up, and soon you will gain more and more confidence and more importantly, more clarity in the images that you're using to present your designs. So good luck with your photography, your product photography. If you do want to learn more about editing photos directly on your smartphone and what simple adjustments you can make to elevate your images, then watch this video next. Until next time, keep practicing with your product photography, keep experimenting, keep trying different setups and seeing what it is you like on what you don't like. Take care, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.